Hi everybody, I hope this video finds you doing well tonight. We are coming together this evening to discuss Unidad 2, Lección 2, which takes place in Mexico, of course. This is a pretty interesting chapter and not quite as difficult, I would think, as the previous chapter you just finished studying. So here, our learning objectives are to identify vocabulary related to classroom objects, emotions, and locations within a school, to create sentences using the verb estar, which means to be. And we're trying to create sentences using estar in order to state an item's location and to discuss our feelings. We also should be able to identify prepositional phrases of location and to demonstrate understanding of the verb ir, which means to go, and create sentences with that verb ir to state where one is going. So, as we get started, we're going to take a look, as always, at a quick little reading here in Spanish with some photos. I encourage you to pause and read these on your own and translate them. And of course, we will be talking about these together as well. So here in letter A, we see La clase de historia no es aburrida porque la maestra es interesante. La clase es divertida, pero es difícil. Cuando una clase no es fácil, tengo que trabajar mucho. Necesito sacar buenas notas. So, history class. La clase de historia no es aburrida. It's not boring. No es aburrida. ¿Por qué? Because la maestra es interesante. It's not boring because the female teacher, she's interesting. Es interesante. La clase es divertida. The class is fun, pero es difícil. But it's difficult. Cuando una clase no es fácil, tengo que trabajar mucho. When a class is not easy, I have to work a lot. Because necesito sacar buenas notas, because I need to get good grades. Now, let's take a look around that classroom that you see here. There's a lot of different items featured. On the wall over here, you have el mapa. Notice it is el mapa and not la mapa. It's an irregular. El mapa, the map. El reloj, the clock. La ventana, the window. El pizarrón, the chalkboard. Also, you sometimes hear la pizarra here instead of pizarrón. Either one works. La tiza, the chalk. And el borrador, the eraser. Finally, down here at the bottom, you see el escritorio, which is a desk, and la silla, a chair. Some other items you see here, in letter B, it tells us that en la escuela siempre tengo mi mochila. So in school, I always have my backpack. And as you're looking here, you see la mochila, the backpack. Inside of that, la calculadora, calculator. La pluma, a pen. El lápiz, a pencil. El papel, paper. And el cuaderno, a notebook. So some cool vocabulary there related to school supplies. Over here under Más Vocabulario, we see some more words. Starting at the top, you see a dónde. You know that donde by itself means where, so putting a in front of it, a dónde means to where. And this is commonly used with the verb ir, which you're going to be learning about here in just a bit. The word cuando means when. We've already talked about that. Cuando is when. Some emotions here, you see deprimido, depressed. Emocionado, excited. Be careful, emocionado is not emotional, it's excited. Ocupado, busy. Some other words you see here are el problema. Notice problema ends in an A, but it's still masculine, el problema, just like we had el mapa over here. So be careful with those, problema, problem, and puerta, door. Let's keep going here through our little reading activity. See what else we can find out here about this school. It tells us that mi escuela es grande, hay una cafetería, un gimnasio, y una biblioteca. So my school is big, es grande. Hay una cafetería, there's a cafeteria, un gimnasio, a gym, y una biblioteca. We see all of those here. So cafetería, cafeteria, gimnasio, gym, and biblioteca, the library. Over here you see el pasillo, the hallway, los baños, the bathrooms, and la oficina del director, the principal's office. So some various school locations there. Here in letter D, it tells us that me gusta pasar un rato con Claudia en la biblioteca. Claudia usa la computadora, pero yo tengo que estudiar. So you should know some of these words already. Me gusta pasar un rato con Claudia. I like to spend time with Claudia. Pasar un rato is to spend time. So I like to spend time with Claudia in the library. Claudia usa la computadora. She uses the computer. Pero yo tengo que estudiar. So she uses the computer, but I gotta study. I have to study. And then some emotions you see in this chapter. You see cansado, tired, nervioso, nervous, contento, happy or content, tranquilo, calm, enojado, angry, and triste, sad. So some various emotions there. Okay, in this very first activity, I want you to take a look at the items you see here in La Tienda Martinez, the Martinez store. Take a look at these items. And you're going to name these items by using a sentence, La Tienda Martinez tiene, and you're going to fill it in. So, for example, I can see they have a backpack here. So I'm going to say that La Tienda Martinez tiene, and then the word for backpack, una mochila, or la mochila. I want you to take a moment, pause your audio, and name as many of these as you possibly can. All right, now that you've had a second to try these, let's take a look. So on mine, I named a few things. I have here la calculadora. I have some erasers, los borradores, a pencil, el lápiz, and actually multiple pencils here, los lápices, some notebooks, los cuadernos, and of course la mochila, the backpack. So those are some of the things that I said. Let's practice a little more with our vocab. Now, this gives you a little bit of reading practice. It asks you in the title, ¿Qué lugar es? What place is it? ¿Qué lugar es? And you have to kind of read the sentence here and decide which word best fits in the blank. So in our first sentence, we see that en el gimnasio hay dos blank, uno para chicas y uno para chicos. So in the gym, there are two blank, one for girls and one for boys. And your options from the pink word bank up here are biblioteca, gimnasio, oficina de director, cafetería, baños, o clase. So in the gym there are two blank, one for boys and one for girls. Our correct answer here should be baños. In the gym there are two bathrooms, baños. Let's do one more together, and then I'm going to turn you loose to try the rest. It tells us that tenemos que correr y practicar deportes en el blank. We have to run and practice sports in the blank. And out of the options up there in the pink, you should choose, very good. We should have to run and practice sports en el gimnasio, in the gym, en el gimnasio. Very good. Okay, I'd like for you to take a moment and please try numbers 3 through 6 on your own, por favor. When you're ready, you can unpause. Okay, now that you've had a second to try these, let's take a look. Number 3 tells us that hay muchos libros en la blank. There are a lot of books in la biblioteca, the library. Number 4, nos gusta comer pizza y pasar un rato con los amigos en la blank. So we like to eat pizza and hang out with our friends in the cafetería, the cafeteria. Number 5, hablamos con el director en la, we talk to the principal in la oficina del director. I just put oficina here. And finally, number 6, hay escritorios y pizarrones en la blank. So there are desks and boards in la clase, in the class, in la clase. Notice it is la clase and not el clase. So be careful with that. Okay, hopefully you're getting a feel for these vocab words and how they work. Next, I want to talk to you about the verb estar. Remember, estar means to be. And to conjugate estar, you first have to think back to your subject pronouns in Spanish in your magical box of Spanish. Remember, we have yo, which means I, tú, you, informal, él, he, ella, she, and usted, you, formal. Up here we have nosotros, which means we, vosotros, you all, only in Spain, ellos and ellas both mean they, and ustedes is you all, used everywhere other than Spain. So let's take our knowledge of these subject pronouns and let's add the verb estar to these subjects. So as we conjugate estar, you end up with estoy, estás, está, estamos, estáis, and están. Say these back with me. Estoy, estás, está, estamos, estáis, and están. Very good. These are your estar conjugations. We use estar when we want to talk about an item's location. So where is the bathroom? Oh, the bathroom is next to the art class. Oh, where is my homework? Oh, my homework's inside of my backpack. We also use estar when we want to talk about feelings. So how are you today? ¿Cómo estás? Oh, estoy bien. I'm doing well. So you've sort of been using estar all along. Now you get to see all the various forms of estar. So I want to give you a chance to practice, and I left your estar words up here to the right if you need them. But it tells us here in in activity 6, titled ¿Dónde están? Where are they? It tells us that we're supposed to di dónde están las personas según Pablo. So tell where the people are according to Pablo. In the model, you see El Señor Díaz, and it pictures him in la oficina del director. So we want to write a sentence that says El Señor Díaz, Mr. Díaz, or he is in the principal's office. So for he, we came down to find our bottom left box. We're using the verb está here. So El Señor Díaz está en la oficina. Let's do another one. Number 1 gives us the subject of ustedes, and it looks like we're in the gym. So the first thing I always like to do here, I like to write as much of the sentence as I can. So we already knew ustedes. It was given to us in the problem. We knew that el gimnasio is the gym. And the word en just means the same thing in English and in Spanish. En. So we're saying you all are in the gym. We need the estar word that goes with ustedes. Well, we can find that down here in our bottom right box. We're going to say ustedes están en el gimnasio. You all are in the gym. Let's do one more. Number 2, as we look, we can see our subject is yo. Looks like we're in a science class here. This dude's looking through a microscope. So we want to say that I am in science class. Yo blank en la clase de ciencias. And the estar word to go with yo in this case should be estoy. So yo estoy en la clase de ciencias. I want you to take a moment, pause your audio, and please give numbers 3 through 6 a try for me. When you're ready, you can unmute. All right, let's take a look at these. So number 3 tells us Miguel y Alejo. And it looks like they're in the hallway. So Miguel y Alejo are blank en el pasillo. So we first have to decide if Miguel y Alejo would be I, you, he, she, we, they, or you all. We know that Miguel y Alejo would be they. So we're going to use our bottom right box here and say that Miguel y Alejo están en el pasillo. Number 4, we're talking about Sergio. Looks like Sergio's in the bathroom. So we first have to decide, would Sergio be I, you, he, she, we, they, or you all? We know that Sergio would be he. So we're going to use our bottom left box here for he and say that Sergio está en el baño. Okay, let's look at just a few more. Number 5 tells us Claudia y yo, and it looks like we're in the library. So to say that we are in the library, we should say Claudia y yo, and then the we form of estar up here in my top right box was estamos. So Claudia y yo estamos en la biblioteca. And number 6, Cristina y Sarita. And it looks like they're in the cafeteria having some lunch. So we're going to say that Cristina y Sarita are in the cafeteria. So Cristina y Sarita would be they, our bottom right box, to say they are. Cristina y Sarita están en la cafetería. So this is a good example of how we use estar when we're talking about an item's location or an individual's location for that matter. You also can use estar to talk about emotions. Now this is a speaking activity. So in an in-person class, I would have you partnering up and talking to someone else in the classroom. Here in the online environment, we can't necessarily do that. However, we can take a look at some of the words. So for student B here, you see Pablo and he has a frowny face. And student A had Pablo and tranquilo. So what we're asking here is Pablo calm? And student B is going to come back and based on the face say, nope, he's not calm. He looks pretty nervous. So I just want you to understand you can also use these as starter words to talk about emotions. So for example, if I wanted to say that Pablo is nervous, I would say that Pablo está nervioso. he's nervous. Number 2, ask if Claudia is triste. Triste, is she sad? And there's a frowny face. She is triste. She is sad. So we would say sí. Claudia está triste. She's sad. So I just wanted you to be aware these can be used with emotions as well. Now, something that is important for you to know for this chapter are these prepositions of location. And there's a bunch of them here. They're in bold at the top. You see al lado de, which means next to. Cerca de, which is near. Debajo de, underneath. Delante de, in front of. Dentro de, inside of. Detrás de, behind. Encima de, on top of. Or lejos de, far away from. Now, I could make you just memorize all those, and that is definitely something you need to do, but there's an easier way. So I have a little song that I think is going to help you in learning these words and remembering them. So bear with me here for just a moment. Here we go.
Words of location style. Words of location style. Delante de, in front of, detrás de, behind. 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 Encima de, on top of, debajo de, underneath. 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 Al lado de is next to, al lado de is next to, al lado de is next to you. Al lado de is next to, al lado de is next to, al lado de is next to you. Al lado de, al lado de, al lado de. Words of location style. Words of location style. Aquí is here, allí is there. 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 Delante de, in front of, detrás de, behind. Encima de, on top of, debajo de, underneath. Al lado de is next to, aquí is here, allí is there. Al lado de is next to, aquí is here, allí is there. Delante de, in front of, detrás de, behind. Encima de, on top of, debajo de, underneath. Al lado de is next to, aquí is here, allí is there.
Okay, so I think you can get a feel here for how these work. Okay, these are your words of location. And something else to help you here, you can see that there is a cat located in the same place where these would be in real life. So for example, delante de means in front of, the cat's in front of the table. Encima de means on top of, the cat is on top of the table. Detrás de, he's behind the table. Al lado de, he's next to the table. Entre, he's between two tables. Debajo de, he's underneath a table. A la izquierda de, to the left of. And a la derecha de, to the right of. So these are some prepositions of location that you do need to know and you will be using. Okay, here we see also the word de following all of these. I don't know if you noticed that or not, but de in this case does not mean from. You know, you learned it in earlier chapters. Soy de Tennessee, soy de South Carolina, I am from. In this case, de doesn't really have that meaning. So de is used as a preposition in this case. So to see, la biblioteca está al lado de la cafetería. It is next to the cafeteria. La tiza está encima del borrador. What you need to know here is that all these prepositions always use a de, as you can see. And when the de is followed by an article that is masculine, a contraction is formed to make del. So unlike in English where contractions are optional, you know, we have a choice. We can say it's or it is. In Spanish, you must use the contraction. You cannot say de él. De and el becomes del. And the reason why, in case you're wondering, the E and de and the E and el kind of create word vomit as they go side by side. It's too many vowels together. So de and el becomes del just naturally if you try to say it quickly. So it's del, D-E-L. So be careful. De la is fine, de los is fine, de las is fine, but de el becomes del. Careful with that. Okay, so I'm going to give you some writing practice with what we just discussed here. In number one, you see mi mochila está blank, and it tells you under the chair. So you have to remember quite a few things. You have to know underneath, and if you forget, you can go back and look at your cat here. Underneath was debajo de. So we're going to say mi mochila está debajo de, and then the word for chair in Spanish was la silla. So mi mochila está debajo de la silla. Number two tells us that the pens are inside of my backpack. I'm going to let you do that one on your own. Number three tells us donde blank la biblioteca, where is the library? And we're talking about the library's location here. So we're going to ask donde está la biblioteca. We're using está in this case instead of es because we are talking about a location. So donde está la biblioteca? I want you guys to try numbers 2 and 4 on your own, please. When you're ready, you can go ahead and unpause your audio, okay? All right, let's take a look at these. Number 2 tells us that mis plumas están blank, and it says inside of my backpack. Again, look at your cat. I guess the cat actually doesn't have this visual, but if you look back here, you know that dentro de is inside of. You can always sing your song as well. So we're going to say mis plumas están dentro de, they're inside of mi mochila, my backpack, mi mochila. Number 3, we already said was está. And number 4, yo blank dentro de la clase de español. So I am inside of the class of Spanish. The estar word in this case to go with yo should be estoy. Estoy. Again, we're talking about our location in this case. We're using estar. Okay, hopefully you're getting a feel here for how estar works. The last thing I'd like to talk to you about tonight is the verb ir. Ir is the verb in Spanish that means to go. And our learning objective is that you can create sentences saying where one will be going. So that being said, first you need to know how to conjugate the verb ir. So as you conjugate ir in our boxes, it becomes voy, I go, vas, you go, va, he or she goes, vamos, we go, vais, you all in Spain go, and van, they go. So let's repeat these together. Say these with me. Repitan. Voy, vas, va, vamos, vais, van. All right, very good. These are your ir words. Now, in the same way that de and el form the contraction del, a and el also will form a contraction to al, and this is for the same reason. A and el, they have two vowels side by side, the a and the e. It's word vomit in Spanish, so it becomes al. Los estudiantes van al gimnasio. The students are going to the gym. So instead of a el, you have al, and instead of de el, you have del. We talked about this word earlier, adonde. Adonde is frequently used with the verb ir to say to where are you going. So I remember my high school Spanish teacher would always fuss at us. If we got out of her seat, she would look at us and say, ¿Adonde vas? ¿Adonde vas? Where are you going? ¿Adonde vas? Right? And you'd say, oh, voy al baño. I'm going to the bathroom. Or voy al basurero. I'm going to the trash can or whatever. So in this case, you're using an ir word, an a, to say to, and then wherever you're going. So let's practice with these just a little bit. And again, you have the chart here at the top to help you. Voy, vas, va, vamos, vais, van. But it asks us if we're talking about un estudiante serio, a serious student. Claudia y Pablo hablan en la escuela. They're talking at school. It tells you to completa la conversación con formas de ir. Complete the conversation with forms of ir. And you see Claudia and Pablo here having their conversation. Claudia says, oh, tengo mucha tarea en la clase de inglés. Yo blank a la biblioteca. Blank, tú y yo? So Claudia says, I have a lot of homework in English class. And she says, I'm blank a la biblioteca. I am going to la biblioteca, to the library. So to say I am going in number 1, we should use the yo form of ir, which becomes voy. So yo voy a la biblioteca. And number 2, she's asking, well, should you and I go? Blank, tú y yo? So you have to ask yourself, well, would tú y yo, you and I, be I, you, he, she, we, they, or you all? You and I in this case would be we. So to say that we are going or let's go, the we form of ir should be vamos. Vamos tú y yo. Pablo responds, and Pablo says, no, yo no blanco a la biblioteca hoy. I am not blanking to the library today. He's saying, I'm not going. We know that the ir word to go with yo should be voy. Yo no voy a la biblioteca. I'd like for you to take a moment, pause your audio, and please give numbers 4 through 11 a quick try for me here. All right, now that you've had a second to try these, let's take a look. Number 4 says, no blank tú a la biblioteca. You're not going to the library? Tienes que hacer la tarea. You got to do your homework, bro. You're not going to the library? So the tú form here of ir should be vas. No vas a la biblioteca? Pablo responds back and he says, well, sí, pero necesito comprar pizza y un refresco. Mis amigos y yo blanca a la cafetería. So sí, yes, but I need to buy a pizza and a soft drink, a soda. My friends and I, mis amigos y yo, blank a la cafetería. My friends and I, we're going to the cafeteria. So my friends and I, being we, we're going to use that top right box for we to say that we go. Mis amigos y yo vamos a la cafetería. He says that después yo blank al gimnasio. So afterwards, I'm going to go to the gym. Yo voy al gimnasio. And they blank a la clase de matemáticas. They're going to math class. So ellos, we know that the ir word to go with ellos in this case would be van. Ellos van a la clase de matemáticas. In number 8, Claudia asked a question and she says, well, blank Carlos al gimnasio? Is Carlos going to the gym? We know that Carlos would be he, and therefore our bottom left box of ir should be va. Va Carlos al gimnasio? Number 9, Pablo says, well, no, he's not going to the library. No, él va a la biblioteca. He's going to the library. Or he's not going to the gym, he's going to the library. And then number 10, Claudia says, ay, Pablo, tú también necesitas ir. Blank, tú y Carlos mañana? So, Pablo, you need to go. Are you and Carlos going to go tomorrow? So, you and Carlos, this is a tricky one. And there's actually 2 correct answers here. So, you and Carlos would be you all. And depending on whether you're in Spain or anywhere else, you're going to use either the vosotros form for y'all or the ustedes form for y'all. So I would take either vais or van as the correct answer here. And finally, in number 11, Pablo says, yeah, sí, todos nosotros blank mañana. Yes, we are all going tomorrow. Todos nosotros, vamos, because we knew that the ir word to go with nosotros was vamos in this case. Okay, so you've seen estar, you've seen ir, and you've seen your vocabulary for this chapter. Those are our learning objectives, that you'll be able to identify vocab related to classroom objects, emotions, and locations within a school, that you'll be able to create sentences using estar to talk about an item or a person's location and how one feels, and that you'll be able to identify prepositional phrases of location and create sentences using the verb ir to state where someone is going. As always, guys, if you have any questions, I'm always just a short email or phone call away. I hope these videos have been helpful to you. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Take care.